Okay, so I'm back for part two. So I've got my basic thing going here. So in part two, I want to set up the next chunk of stuff, which is a big smelter, proper steam power, a maul, red and green potions. I might do a steel smelter, I might not. And I usually lay out the next lot of potions and refinery stuff at this point as well, if I'm actually planning ahead, as opposed to just flying by the seat of my pants, which I also do sometimes. So first of all, we're going to have 4 of these steam boiler refinery things. So let's put them. I probably should remove the ship at this point, but I kind of like keeping it. Yeah, I'm going to keep it. Why not? So let's pop the steam power here. Now, I like to give myself a little bit of space between different bits of the steam power, so I line this up on register off that pole. That's 2, 3, 4, and I've still got a bit of space up to the cliffs. Usually you can get this initial bootstrap going inside the space of that near range of cliffs, which actually helps when you build out the wall in the first place once you start worrying about the locals. So that's the first bit of that. Let's pop a radar down because I probably have the energy for it, and that will start mapping out the area beyond the horizon so I can figure out what I'm doing. Okay, so the next thing is I'm going to need a refinery. How I do a refinery is I have I've got my steam engines now, let's throw them away. This is a 1 blocker refiner. I normally make 4 of these for copper, 4 for iron, and 4 to iron and 2 for iron to steel. So 4 in total, making 2 rows of output of steel. Exactly where I'm going to put these, I'm not sure. This forest is annoying because I don't have to clear that entire forest by hand, but it probably is actually the best spot for them because then I'll clearly get 4 across here, and then my main bus can run up here and I'll have stacks of space for my bus. So probably that's what I should do. So if I flip them around so that I can put them up near the water here, I'm going to want one there and the next one there. And if I do that, I'll just get a bit closer down so I can see what I'm doing. This does mean I'm going to probably have a really boring phase of cutting down a gazillion trees. Whoops, let's copy that. And I generally try and make it so that the wires just join, so I have a bit of space between each rung. So that's the next one. And you'll see I've probably got a good amount of space here to do this. So if necessary, I can put my steel smelters in. That's probably what I'm going to end up doing actually. So in fact, why don't I just map that space out now? And then the bus will run up here and I'll be able to work both sides of the bus over there. So that means the bus is going to end up being over here. So that I'm going to have 4 coppers coming up, or 4 whichever these ones are refining, which will be steel, iron actually. So the irons are going to that. 4 irons will run across here, 4 irons will run up here, the coppers will join them. And so the main bus is going to be kind of here. That'll be the copper, that'll be the iron. The steel is going to come out the end of this, and probably, I'm not sure which side of that, I'll probably that side, maybe that side. Anyway, let's figure that out in a sec. So next things, time to start figuring out what happens. So let's run over to where the bus is going to be. Now, I don't always plan it this much at this stage. I'm kind of showing you a best case. Often I just kind of wing it. One of the things I like about Factorio is that you can figure out what you're doing as you go along and just solve some engineering problems. Now, give myself plenty of space for a bus. You're not going to get 4 lanes of steel and 4 lanes of coal and 4 lanes of everything else, but if you give yourself a bit of space at the beginning, you won't be scratching for space later. Leave 2 gaps in between and 4 at a time, because that means you can easily skip across it within yellow undergrounds and stuff like that. So then I look at my thing. So I've done some smelters, so let's throw them away. The maul. So my first maul should hopefully fit. Look at that, it fits in here, nice. I leave a bit of space behind the maul. I'll show you what I mean by behind in a sec. I want to leave a bit of space here. I'll have landfill by the time I need it, but often I end up building the blue belts manufacture here. It depends a bit on how the bootstrap goes. The other thing to notice about these blueprints is I use purple inserters with filter inserters with a type on them, so I remember what the input types are when I'm patching the whole thing together. So that's going to be my initial mall. Then keep the mall blueprint. Notice that things you don't have the tech for aren't filled in yet, so you need to keep reapplying that blueprint. After that, I'll need some signs. So now, problem with that is that's going to hit what I've allocated for bus space. So I can either move the bus across a bit, or I can do the signs on the other side. Maybe I'll do the signs on the other side for now. Let's do that. Black signs. Now, you can cross the signs across the divide, of course, so that's okay. There's the black signs, the blue signs. Now, blue signs is going to need gas because it needs sulfur, but let's pop it here somewhere or so, I'd say, maybe a bit more space. I'm watching the gap to those cliffs because they're going to be problematic later. Blue science, of course, also needs red circuits. You want lots of expansion space for red circuits because you're going to need lots of them always. Hang on, I'm just trying to see which way around this goes. This goes this way because it extends up this way. Now, that's not the best thing in the world because I probably should put the reds, maybe I should put the red circuits on this side. Would I get two in there? One? Yeah, not quite. No, I'll put the red circuits over here. I might just sketch my bus out to make sure I'm not making mistakes here. Whoops, didn't want that much in the copy. Right, and eventually I will put purple up here somewhere perhaps, and yellow, probably I'll put yellow here, and purple here maybe. I'm going to need to blow some of these cliffs up by then. I might get yellow in here, I might have to make space for the reds. The red potions will probably need another, the red circuits at least will need another thing there. And the refinery I'm suspecting should go in here. So anyway, that's about the amount of planning I do at this stage. It's probably a little more than typical actually. So let's run back across and see how the rest of my factory is going. Now the first thing I want to do is get some more of this smelter going. Now, let's see. I'm going to need to knock down a few trees here. This is going to be a bit boring. Let's, oh look, everything's starting to grind to halt here. I spent too long talking and not enough time refilling things, and so now I have no coal, and my coal thing is totally full. So there's a chunk of coal for me. Let's fill all that up. Let's fill this up. Get those things going again. And I should probably check on my science. It looks like that's stalled while I was chatting to you. Yep. So let's go back up to science. You don't need to get the ratio right here, but it doesn't hurt to be cosmetics. Okay, let's figure out. So this needs to take copper. One of these is for copper and one of these is for iron. It's going to be much easier if I clear some of these trees. I know this is going to be very boring, but I'm going to have to make a bit of space here. It's going to be a while before I get bots, so I can't clear this forest more easily than this. Sometimes I play like much less forest in the world, but it's actually not bad to have lots of wood at various points as well for making early power poles. Normally I find a spot which doesn't require this much clearing for the initial refineries, initial smelters, but honestly this is such a good spot for it that I just can't bring myself to not use it. Sometimes I use the blueprint, deconstruction planner set to trees and stuff like the trees and rocks to make it easier to spot all the trees here, but this is so thick that just sweeping back and forth is going to work. You can see it's starting to uncover where I want to put this smelter. Dig, 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 dig. This is why I haven't even got the steel axe yet. This will be a lot quicker once I have the steel axe. But since I haven't got much better to do at this point, I may as well spend some time chopping things down. Right. You know what I could actually do is I could go and make a whole lot of the stone furnaces that I'm going to need to paint these blueprints, and also the inserters. There's a bit of a balancing act here of how much you do bit by bit to get things rebootstrapping and how much you just kind of wait until it's all going. Since I set the monsters to be quite non-aggressive here, I'm really going to have tons of time. I might just blueprint out how much space I need to get the iron out here. So I'm probably going to end up with maybe 2 steel. The steel will probably end up feeding the other end, so let's not do it from here. I lost my bit of radarness. Let's bring that back up. So yeah, the steel I'll probably end up feeding up across the middle and back out the top here to save time. So I should be able to just whack my exhausted iron across the bottom here. And let's see, so that's going to be, that one's going to go to there. Oops, not that one. That's going to be one of the steel ones. So that's going to work like that. So one of the keys I find to getting a slightly strategic layout at the beginning in this phase is actually using blueprints quite a lot, even though don't actually have robots to fill them in. You have to be a little bit careful that it does mean when you acquire robots, all of a sudden all your robots will be off filling in things that you made ages ago. Look, I have lots of stone here, but these things have run out, so let's charge them up again a bit, and let's make a lot more furnaces. How many furnaces have I got? Oh, not very many at all. Okay, and everything up here is running flat too, because while I'm talking, I'm not picking up enough of this stuff now. I haven't still got power. Yep. Let's just check how I'm going up here. Yeah, I've got enough coal there. 150 should keep us going for a bit. Let's take a pick up of those. Now that I've picked up a load of that stuff, and I'll just clear some of these just things I've discovered. Now that I've picked up a load of that stuff, I can make a bunch of these. Let's see, now I got the steel axe as well, so that should improve the speed at which I can clear these trees through here. Okay, I've run out of things to research. Now at this point, it doesn't really matter what order you do things in. I like to do the fast inserters because they just tend to be useful. And then I do green potions because it takes a bit longer to do, and I really like to do that before I start actually painting in the second science area, which can actually take advantage of them. Okay, so hang on, this one is going to be iron here. So let's start clearing a bit more of this out. Right, now let's see how these work. So I'm going to need some undies and splitters. This is going to be the coal line. So coal's going to come from up there. So I'm probably going to need to run it across, jump over the ore lines. Ultimately, there'll be 4 ore lines here because I've got 4 banks of these things. By the time I'm building out the steel and these things are actually full, I'll be able to start running red things, so I'll get more through there. But given that, I may as well jump those like that. I'm also going to be feeding up here. The copper smelters will be the ones up above, and they'll run off the same coal line. You should be able to get plenty of coal through to make that work. But just to kind of make sure I'm sketching things out right, that's the coal that's going to feed through there. So we're going to want a splitter in here somewhere. It doesn't really matter which way we do it. Oop. Sorry, there we go. So that's going to be my coal. That's going to feed the next lot of smelters. And I'm out of belts, so let's go. Hang on, I normally pop those guys down in slot 2, and I normally slot the belts in slot 1. And let's get those guys, make sure they're nice and full. Some more circuits. Right, coal. So what I want now is to mine some coal. Now, pretty soon I'm going to need significant amounts of, well, not significant amounts in late game terms, but significant amounts in terms of not the power station that I have at the moment. So let's start planning for that as well. So let's build some coal mines. Okay. What do I need for mines? Iron plates is what I'm missing. Oops. Should keep us going. I'm going to put that extra thing in there because I suspect I'm going to clear these out here at some point, like now, basically. Right, so now I want to run that power up to where I'm going to put my new power plant, which is up here somewhere. So I'm going to have to sneak it. Yes, excellent. It can get past the wreck. I don't have to lift the wreck yet. Now here, one thing that's important, make sure you set an upper priority and feed your power station before you feed your smelters. Otherwise you will for sure have an exciting time later. I'm out of those again. Hopefully I'm manufacturing enough of them for now. I'm going to make my power station a bit bigger too. One needs 2 of those. Nope, that's going to need more iron. So now you get this interesting balancing act at this point in the game where often it's like you're torn between manufacturing more iron and using the iron you've got to do things. Really, it's not the fact that you need the iron to manufacture iron at this point, it's the fact that you need the time. I guess you need the iron, to be honest, but you need the time to lay out the smelter is really what costs the time, what is the limiting resource at this point in the Bootstrap. That's why I don't speedrun. I often just decide to do a bit more kind of fishing around and clear some of this stuff that I know I'm going to want out of the way later. Okay, I've only got 33 of those things. I'm for sure going to want more of them. I might put some of the coal down here so I've got plenty of stone later. I might actually bring this in tight around the wreck because there's a chance I'll want that space near the water for something else. often later in the game I end up setting up little ad hoc explosive factories or things like that, and they're convenient to have some good space near the water. Okay, so how am I going for belts? I'm not going to have enough belts to build this yet, but let's start to map this stuff out. I need a water pump. Now I'm just waiting for these pipes to build. Probably could have planned that a bit better. See, if I was a speed runner, I would have all of that completely planned out. But as I'm not, I don't. Okay. Okay, that'll do for now. So now that I'm feeding these off that boiler, I've now got a bit more power. I will probably also tear down, at a convenient spot, I'll tear down the science factory and its boiler and just shift over completely to the new south. That was a bit silly. Move that tree. That's better. But since I've got enough belts at the moment, I may as well finish this last bit of preparation here. And now that goes like that. Right. So that should be enough now that I have a power connected to a belt. I don't have to worry about my slightly poor choice of location of the chest from before. Let's see about this smelter, right? So here come the... Oi! Ah! Oh, blast. I mucked up the blueprint a bit, but I know what I'm doing. I think this actually originated from me saying how easy it was to lay these blueprints out by hand, so it's actually substantially embarrassing that I'm making errors like that when I lay them out, but we'll live. It's good to lay the center line of belts down before you start placing the inserters. The reason is that it's one less thing that you can get wrong when you're like one less place you can accidentally move and drop an inserter where you don't mean to drop one. Okay, that's a bit more belts. Probably should just, have I got any mines? I do, so let's get some ore flowing while I think about it. Actually, I think there's a bit more ore under there, yeah. Right, so what's going on with this power? I need to connect all this power back over here. That'll do. Get myself some more belts. 96 inserters. Might be enough, actually. Just count quickly. How many do I need? 96. Not bad. Sheer luck. So now we've got to a position where we can start to place some inserters. Oh, see, I do make mistakes. But I've placed the most of the surrounding things, so it's relatively easy to do this without making mistakes. I probably won't end up doing all of them by hand. I usually manage to get robots before I've done the whole lot here. And so at that point, the robots fill out the rest. But I do find that 4 belts is a good, 4 yellow belts worth of stuff is a good middle amount to get going in a typical, to get me to the point where I've done all the science I can do without rockets. Probably should have done one of the copper. Smelters instead of doing two like this, but and I've got nowhere near enough ore to feed a grid this size yet, but that doesn't really matter at this stage. Those furnaces can hold 100 completed plates anyway, so if things start to back up, they'll buffer in there for a bit and I can just pull stuff out of them. Now I'm getting much more metal, iron at least, but I'll still keep these guys going for a bit. I've probably run out of science because I can see that the science is stopped by the fact that my I'm making no progress on my science anymore, so I better run up. I've got stacks of iron and copper now, so I can fill that out. That burner has also run out, so I might as well fix that. So let's give that some more stuff to do. Clean this out. Pop it over here. And there's that. So they can both feed off that one now. I should still have tons of power, yep. I will totally fill up more of those arrays as I push on because the mines that I'm building here will need more arrays there. What's next? Let's see, I've got a fair bit of iron going through there. I think probably what I want to do next is build out our copper line. Now I heard myself there. I was actually accidentally picking up stuff on the ground because I didn't correctly lock on a tree at first. Fortunately, I've got plenty of things that look like one that look like, so I can easily redraw it. Let's put the now how many say furnaces? 39, and I need 48, so let's get a few more. Oh, that's going to be tight because without landfill, but I think I'll manage to make it work. Okay, just paint this guy. I'm going to need to make a whole lot more yellow inserters in a sec, so I'll probably run back and do them shortly. I'll take advantage of the dropped stone furnaces to make drawing a painting in the poles a bit easier. Right. And what was I saying? I needed inserters hands. I mean, I'm going to need a ton of them later, so you may as well just compress that down. Right, and let's do some of those. Now, the next bit of science doesn't really matter what order you do them in. Doesn't really matter what order you do them in. I guess technically you should do the military ones first, because if in the event the natives do turn up, we want to be ready, but it's not a super big deal. So let's just crank some of them. I might even just shut that down and move to the rest of science before I get that far in. Now I've got some yellow things. The thing I'm going to need next, that's going to take a while for that to build. So what I will do is I will go and run some more of the... Well, I'll kill these trees since they got in my way. Die, tree, die. Fill in some more of the belts. Oh, I'm out. Oh, that's annoying. I got run out before I had a chance to do that last bit. That's alright. Now, of course, without ore, these aren't going to do much, but I may as well fill them in. That's waiting on iron plates. Okay, well, I know I'm going to have a lot of iron plates down here by now, hopefully, because that smelter I set up before should just be backing up. So let's clear all of these out and pick up on the way back up. Yeah, so I'm only about half of that's actually manufacturing at any scale. Right, that's a bit better. I don't want to probably make too many of those, but that should be enough to keep me going. Notice because I've been manufacturing reasonable numbers of circuits and cogs, I don't have to do a ton of circuit and cog manufacturing for that bit. Now, the thing I've planned slightly badly here is how to get the copper out of this area, but I'm probably not going to need that circuit area for that much longer. So I think what I might do is kind of just figure out that I want to put a mine there, and then I'll put another line down here, but I'll take that one out at the moment and do this trick. If I map them out like that, and then that's not where I want them to end up, it will give me space to get a conveyor out until I pull the burner drills out, and that will give me space to run the copper up here. Now, once again, I'm going to be running 4 coppers up here. Annoyingly, this iron's in the way. I might even leave that till later in the game. I'll just take it for now. But I'll skip some space here because I might end up bringing up 4 things through here. I don't know if I'll bring them through in that pattern, but that's close enough. Then over here, there are 4 lanes of copper. Okay, whee, not like that. Like that. Oh. So I put that in slightly the wrong spot. That's all right. The copper, if I think about it, it's actually going to go up like, that's going to be almost the rightmost strand of it. So in fact, I want them going the other way. Often I put undies down in the wrong direction because it's easier to put them down in reverse than it is to count squares on the board. Notice by using cut, paste, and paint there, you can avoid needing to fiddle with the UI for dropping the preferred output. What's it called? The upper priority. When I get to a point like this where I really want to be on that lane, but I should be on this lane, but I'm going to want all this space later, I just turn it down for now. But by the time I get to fixing it, it'll be better. Okay, I can hear science go off in the background. Oh, I'm almost done. Most of my red's almost done. So let's do the last few reds that are exposed. And hopefully I will actually be building science in my correct science area before too long. That will unleash copper into that bundle. Let's finish this smelter then. Right. Let's pick up more iron. Now I'm probably going to break down the existing belt manufacturer over there soon, but it may behoove me just to stick a new one on the bottom. Another thing you can do at this point to speed things up a bit is you can actually just stuff iron directly into these things like this. Which reminds me I should check the iron levels in my science. Probably need to put a bit more iron in there to get through the last few bits of science. Check the power levels. Oops, that's going to be problematic soon. So let's make some more power. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm almost always going to want some pipes. So where possible, I space things at the native spacing so that they drop correctly, because it makes it quicker when you're painting things in. Or even not just quicker, more just kind of convenient than anything else. Okay, that should solve my power problems a bit more. Oh look, I totally missed a bit of iron in part 1. Probably because it was on fire and I was on fire. There you go, 1 whole iron plate. Right, so copper's starting to roll through, iron's rolling through. What's actually going to become my bottlenecks pretty soon is going to be enough belts to make all the way up my main bus and start laying out my mold. So what I might do is just very quickly drop a cheeky extra manufacturing plant here. I've got some things for it, so that like that like that. That's going to make, oops, cogs. Oops, that one's going to make belts. Why? I'm just going to get rid of a couple of exclamation marks before they annoy me too much. Yes, like that. Like that. Oh, wow, I'm out of power poles. That's extraordinary. Let's make some more power poles. Would have made quite a lot before. Let's put that there. Put that there. This is a really bad power pole layout, but this is a highly temporary part of the map. I'm going to need a ton of belts. Oops. And this will just give me ample supply of belts in the meantime when I run back down there. May as well get a lot of iron in the meantime. Right, now what am I doing? I've connected copper ore coming through at some weak volume. I've connected iron ore through, so now let's start running these belts back up to where I'm going to build them all and build them all. Because I don't have landfill, I'm going to have to sneak. Oi! Surely I've got enough to get around like that. Oh, just. Now, but of course these are actually going to go across. The last two will be the steel ones, so this will be the copper one, but they'll still have to get out. Oh, I haven't left myself enough space to get out here. That was a really poor choice. Okay, so what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to move all of that side up the bus a bit. So let's come over here, and I'll get far enough that I can actually see the end of what I'm doing on the overview map. And then I'll take all this stuff and oops, I'm actually going to pick it up from this end so I don't accidentally pick up the wrong stuff. There we go. So I'm picking up just the blueprints that I want. And I'm going to give myself enough space for, hang on, that's the steel. 1, 2, 3, 4, that's the copper, and a bit of extra space just in case, and put it back. And look, it fits. Excellent. So now I'm in a better position. This is why I plan with blueprints, because sometimes you don't notice what's going to happen until it's too late. Now the iron is coming out from the bottom, so the copper may as well come into this one. So that's the 2 steel that are going to be coming out of those at some point in the future. That's the copper. So this is going to be the top copper. This is the bottom copper. And that's going to come across here. Let's see if I've got some more belts. Oh, it's been a long session. Just keeping half an hour. I might as well dump all that stone into more furnaces while I'm running around. See, now I've got substantial numbers of belts, at least for now. So once again, remember here's the filter inserters being used as markers, so I know what I'm lining up against. It's the copper line, and the steel one, the iron line is here. I'm going to need more of those, so let's put a few of them. I'm going to end up putting a lot of rebalancers inside those lines laid up, so it doesn't particularly matter which side you pull off because you end up just shunting it around a bit ad hoc in order to keep things lined up. Oh no, a cliff in the way, but whee. I'll just wheel around the cliff. I could use unders or something to go under it, but it's going to look something like this. Whoops. Ah, more like that. And then like that. Oh, except the other way. Something like that'll work out. And I'm out of belts, but fortunately, thank you, Past Robbie, for leaving a belt factory here. Alright, now it should be in business. So I've got, that will bring iron around. Hopefully my copper is already coming around the top. Flowing in. Now I'm going to need some factories to get off the ground. And here I focus on getting the factory and the belt factory and the circuit factories up because they're the one. And the circuit, the picker factory, the inserter factory, which needs the circuit. The inserter factory needs the circuit factory because that will make it most efficient later. Now, the other thing to notice here is there's a lot of factories that aren't filled in yet. That's because they're things that I don't know how to manufacture yet, but they will get filled in over time. The other thing to notice here is these power poles are hopelessly unoptimized. There's wires everywhere, but since you end up painting them all anyway, it doesn't really make a big difference to making it so that there's minimal paths to paint the first few sets. Another rock in the way. Oh, look, some coal. Not that I need it really anymore. I've got a feeling that my science has run dry again because that 31% I feel has been there for a while. Oh no, it hasn't. I'm just not reading properly. Oh, I've got tons. Okay, I probably can forget about that then. Let's run this down here. Oh, I'm out of unders. Let's see, belts. I'm going to need more chests at some point. One of the really useful things I didn't notice for a while is that placed inserters won't feed into ghosted buildings, which is really useful when you're mapping out something like this because you don't need to be careful about which inserters you place when. Here's the iron coming through. Let's get the circuits going as well. I've tried to make it so that these things are easy to paint. I still make mistakes, of course. Let's see, that one and that one. The trick here is don't fill that chest in too early because you don't want to be hoarding circuits when you really need them elsewhere at the beginning. I'm going to need some power here, of course. So eventually I'm going to bring power across through these smelters. So I may as well just fill that in now. When I'm building the initial power network, before I have the energy distribution that gives you the tall men and the middle ones, I tend to just build nests of them, and then later on this will all get ripped out once we're bootstrapped anyway, so it's really not a problem to have slightly over-coupled power networks here. Am I missing any? Yep, those. Let's see, okay, I've got copper coming through, I've got iron starting to come through. The iron's not really coming through in volume because I've still got those belt factories down there which are stripping everything off, so I'll have to go and get rid of them. Let's just get down, and also of course I probably have nowhere near enough ore coming in yet. Yeah, right. So there's a couple of problems I can fix. Let's make sure I got some, I don't have any green circuits, so I won't manufacture mines until I can go and pick up the green circuits from the other side. if I pick these up in the right order, I wouldn't have to worry about picking stuff off the ground, but it's not that hard to pick stuff off the ground either. Let's go over here. Is that full? No, it's not, so you might as well keep mining stone. Let's see. Now I know I'm going to be manufacturing circuits up above now, so I can clean this area out. Let's see, I don't need coal anymore. Oops, except of course now I've got way too much stuff in my pockets. Let's go dump some coal in these furnaces. Oh, I've got lots of ore in my pockets from those overflowing mines as well. Why did power go out here? Because I did the wrong thing. That's better. So now I can fix up this that I was going to fix up before. Let's just dump it on that track so that will self-heal by the time I get back to it. Right, I wanted to make some of those, but now that I've got the circuits, that's a bit... Oh no, I didn't pick up the circuits. Huh, maybe I was... Oh, I must have been out of circuits or out of iron or used them or something. That was a bit poor. Now the other thing that we could do here is, it's actually convenient to put a filter splitter here because of the way I've got these lines. So what I might do is just drop a filter splitter at the end here and put iron, oh, not that way around, other way around. Put iron out that side. Feed it in there. But that means I don't really need to worry about how I place these mines. It's not really killing two birds with one stone because the you'll only mine the same amount of stuff anyway, but it will work. I may need to be careful later because we'll use the ores at different rates and you'll quite easily starve out one and the sort of get blocked up. But there's so much copper here and so much iron here that I'll be able to rebalance that without too much trouble. Okay, there's those. Now, always when you pick up things like that, you leave some bits on the ground, so just use the construction planner to highlight those so you don't miss them. Later when you've got bots, you could do a big clean for that stuff as well. Now I'm manufacturing things like that at scale above, so I don't need those either. Oops, I'm full again. Let's say I've got some ores, so let's dump the ores. And I've got coal at least, so let's get rid of the coal. I've got a lot of iron and belts, that's good. Alright, so clean up that bit of bootstrap. Alright, so I'm getting pretty close to having my basic part 2 done. I've got a fair bit of... Have I got plenty of power? Yeah, I've got plenty of power. I've got iron coming in over here. Oh, why am I not manufacturing belts here? Because something's gone wrong. Because I have... I didn't put the unloaders for the cogs. And I didn't put the bit of belts for the circuits there. I'm going to fill that circuit stealer in now. This will steal a lot of circuits, basically half of them until it's full, but I keep all these locked at one square in the blueprint, so you don't have too much problem with that. I will need to open them up to be much bigger later. Oops. Again, there's plenty of empty buildings here. Unmarked buildings here because I haven't discovered the technologies for those things yet. You can probably amuse yourself by figuring out which ones they are and what must be on the belts. Or you don't put one down if you don't have it yet, Robbie. That's why you keep them all mapped around so that you can refresh it when you need to. So you see now I've got these buildings which weren't there before. Well, I mean the mines were. That's all looking good. Are you making things? You need cogs and... Oh, right, I haven't filled this bit in yet. Okay, So that's all looking good. I may as well put my factory back. And pipes are always useful to have. The main reason you want pipes at this stage is actually for manufacturing boilers. It's not because you really need that much piping until you get a refinery going. Fast inserters are always useful to have. I forgot to fill that guy in, so I wasn't making yellows ready, but since I wasn't making circuits either, I was pretty much mucked up either way. Always good to be making repair kits before you think you need them, because all of a sudden you'll need them. Right, I think I'm close to the end of this part. I've got very basic. So what I'm manufacturing here now, I'm manufacturing assembling machines and pickers. Now, it'll be a while before I get all the problems sorted out. So let's just get a whole bank of the power station going, and then I'll come back and do the science factory later. So I need 7 more. 7? No, it's 14, Robbie. Yes, 14 more boilers and 28 more engines. So what I say, 14 boilers, 5, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 28, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 26, 27, 28. Doesn't really matter if you make a few extras because of the size. I think I'm actually going to have to paint here eventually, but it's always a bit convenient. I missed one. Oh, I missed one here too. You'll notice the power poles here make it easy to paint the boilers. I'm going to need a lot more pickers and I'm going to run out. I'm actually carrying quite a lot of wood at the moment. I could probably just dump some of that into these boilers. Let's see, the steam engines are what I'm making now, so there's a tree there, that's why you can't drop that one, Robbie. Okay, that's the bank of steam engines. But of course they won't actually make any steam until the water is running through, which it's not yet because I haven't got the little connecting pipes. But they'll be there in a sec. Let's run around the other side of this to drop these ones conveniently. Oh, I'm still waiting for them to be manufactured. Okay, so that's one more. Come on, boilers. And I'm almost doing my red science. I'm going to be a little bit late to connecting up my green science. I don't think I'm going to get it done before that physical projectile damage gets worked through. Okay, I need pickers, inserters for these. And did I have any spare pipes? No, I didn't do pipes yet. Oh, I must have pipes at the very end. I always find that I mess up the way that I consume pipes in my bootstrapping because they get consumed by boilers and I always build them in slightly the wrong order. But fortunately, I've got a factory over here which is making pipes. I wonder if I can run over and get pipes from it faster than I can make some. The other thing is if you carry around a few factories, you can always drop one and do something if you completely mess up your build queue. That's better. What's that? Running low on iron still, so I've got to go down and make some more mines. Oops, the pipe is what I want, Robbie. Okay, so now I should be making a bit more power. That's better. 36 megawatts of steam power. Miners. Might as well grab some circuits on the way past. And some pickers. I've got plenty of belts. So looking at this, what you're always short of at this point is iron. I'm not even putting a full belt of iron in, so that smelter is basically only half functioning. And I haven't even lined out the other half. It's less than half functioning statically because I don't even have the paths yet, but it's not even half functioning out the side because I don't have enough ore. So let's fix that toodle pip. I'm coming up on time for this video, so what do I just need to do? I just need to make a whole lot more mine over here. Just make some of these trees out of the way so I can see what I'm doing. Right, now, iron mines. That was it iron. Just for the pure symmetry of it, I feel like I'm going to do one more of those. Oh, could have stolen that one. Is there any more red ones there? No. Let's just make a few more of those already. Now, one thing that might be nice to do here is I'd like this patch to go away, so I really want to privilege that one. So I'm going to actually bring this up to a mixer. And did that wrong. I want to input priority the top one because that will help me clear out that annoying patch here before I have to clear this stuff out. Is that feeding right? Yes, that is right. That one I don't need. Right, that should work a bit better. Now, I may as well put a few along here as well. Oops, not there. And probably wouldn't hurt to have these guys running. Or these ones for that matter. I'm very low on cogs. Okay, that's probably enough for this video. So I should now have a pretty solid supply of iron once that new ore washes through. I've got a decent set of power, and I'm manufacturing what I need to continue bootstrapping: belts, factories, and mines and inserters in the beginnings of my mall. Okay, until part 3, that's part 2. See you, folks.